How's it going, everyone? It's Harvey from Weather Sponge 5000, and in this video, we're going to take a look at our next potential snowstorms that could move through the southeast as well as the northeast in the near future. So let's get right into it by taking a look at the current GFS model, and we do see it's going to be colder than average for the most part right over the Great Lakes region, as well as portions of the northeast, which I think will contribute to a higher chance of a snowstorm developing at least somewhere around the eastern half of the United States. Well, moving forward with the forecast, so eventually we're going to see a trough move towards Southern California, where we should see some rain showers right around the San Diego area and extending into southern Arizona as well and New Mexico. But we do see this trough will be fairly light, but there still will be a decent amount of cold air behind it to at least have an enhanced area of convective activity. And continuing to move forward with the forecast, this could bring potentially a severe weather threat right over Louisiana and Mississippi right around the January 3rd time frame on Wednesday. So you definitely need to watch out for that possibility. We're around 111 hours out, so there's still time for the forecast to change. But moving forward with the forecast, we do see that quite a at least a decently strong low pressure system is just off the Carolinas right around the January 4th time frame on Thursday. And taking a look at what's to the north of it, we see another clipper system moving through that's bringing some snow showers over the Great Lakes. It's mainly light for the most part. However, when we see two troughs with at least different temperatures right around the center of circulation, with of course this trough being more of a warm core type low pressure system combined with a potentially colder type low pressure system, then that certainly could enhance the instability enough to where we could see a major snowstorm develop right around the Thursday to Friday time frame between January 4th and January 5th, as I'm certainly not ruling out that possibility. The GFS model isn't showing necessarily a major snowstorm developing for the mid-Atlantic. However, it eventually does want to bring a pretty significant nor'easter and blizzard right around the eastern portion of Maine. And if we see the timing a little bit different between these two low pressure systems, then I could easily foresee a major blizzard developing just off the northeast coast, where all the Interstate 95 corridor cities such as Boston, New York City, Philadelphia, and Washington, D.C. would get involved. So, but for that to happen, we're going to need to see this trough move a little bit further southward and a little bit faster, to the point where it'll be able to interact with this subtropical low a little bit more quickly, to the point where the instability would enhance quickly enough for this to eventually intensify into a major nor'easter or blizzard for the northeast. It seems like the GFS model does believe that it'll eventually develop into a pretty significant snowstorm or blizzard, but it's gonna happen a little bit too late for many of the more populated areas of the northeast, such as Boston, New York City, Hartford, Rhode Island, extending into New Jersey, Philadelphia, for those areas to get involved. So we're definitely going to need to see this low move a little bit faster and move a little bit further southward to interact with this low and create enough instability early on for this to develop into a major snowstorm, for this to impact the Interstate 95 corridor cities. Right now, it seems like this low is a little bit too slow, and this subtropical low right just off the coast of the Carolinas is moving a little bit too far to the east, and that's to bring a major snowstorm to the Interstate 95 corridor cities. Taking a look at what I'm talking about with the 500 millibar height anomaly, because that gives a good idea of what we're going to need to track to determine if we're going to see a major snowstorm out of this in the northeast or not. Really, it all depends on how much ridging there will be just to the east of this low pressure system, because if the ridging is a little bit stronger, then this low would move a little bit closer to the coast to interact with this very cold clipper system moving through the Great Lakes, and that'll certainly enhance the possibility of a major snowstorm. However, we see that in this scenario the ridge is a little bit too weak, so it doesn't move northward as quickly enough to interact with this colder low pressure system, so we don't see enough instability early on for a major snowstorm to impact the Interstate 95 corridor city. So we're definitely going to need to keep tabs on this ridge right here. If it's a little stronger, then I'm more confident we're going to see a major snowstorm right up along the northeast coast. But for now, I'll say the chance of a major snowstorm happening for the Interstate 95 corridor cities from this low pressure system is right around 50% chance. It could really go either way. There's still a lot of time to iron out the forecast. We're still 7 days out before this event actually occurs, so we're definitely going to keep tabs on this over the next few days because this certainly could be significant. Now, the next topic I want to talk about is the potential of a southeast snowstorm that could happen right after this potential nor'easter, right around the January 4th and 5th time frame. So if we were to take a look at that, let's go back to the precipitation forecast from the GFS model, and moving forward with that forecast, of course, this was a nor'easter I was just talking about, but we're going to see another trough come off the California coast and move ashore, bringing some rain showers and snow showers to the higher elevations of California before eventually moving into the southeast, again bringing some snow showers to the higher elevations of Arizona and New Mexico. But continuing to move forward, we do see that there will be a decent amount of cold air associated with this low pressure system, despite the fact that it's going to be disconnected from the jet stream, as this should be a pretty powerful upper level low that could bring some snow showers to the areas further southward, such as northern Texas, where we do see that by January 5th on Friday, we see very heavy snowfall right over northern Texas and southern Oklahoma, and this could maybe bring some snow showers to the Dallas area. So Dallas, you might want to keep tabs on this right around January 6th. Moving forward, what's interesting also is that on the southern side, we could see a very heavy rain threat, and I wouldn't be surprised if we do see a severe weather threat associated with this storm system, because it seems like the computer models are leaning towards the cold air associated with this upper level low to be powerful enough for this to have a good amount of instability and convective activity on the eastern half. So Louisiana, New Orleans, the Gulf Coast of Mississippi, and Alabama, you need to be aware of that possibility of very heavy rainfall as we approach the Saturday, January 6th time frame. And moving even more forward with the forecast, we see a pretty powerful snowstorm for portions of the southeast, where northern Mississippi is experiencing very heavy snowfall, as well as a large portion of Tennessee. This includes Memphis, this includes Nashville, and I wouldn't be surprised if we see the snow move as far south as Huntsville, as well as Atlanta. If we do see enough cold air, as that certainly would be a possibility. We just need to see really how much cold air this upper level low will bring by the time it moves ashore right up along the west coast before I can give a definitive answer of where that rain slow line is. And while this forecast is very far out, the European model is showing a very similar forecast. But going into January 6th, into the very early morning hours on the 7th, we do see the snow eventually moves into the higher elevations of the Carolinas as well. And in a scenario like this, you might expect that this low would eventually move up the northeast coast, but it seems like right around the January 7th time frame, the ridging should be a little bit stronger for this to move up the northeast coast. I wouldn't rule out that possibility at all, because look at the forecast hour I'm going at. But it's at least something to be aware of, that there's a possibility that a ridge could block this from moving up the northeast coast. So this might only be a southeast snowstorm threat and not necessarily a northeast snowstorm threat if we do see this ridge end up being as strong as the computer models are currently anticipated, which would force the storm to take a track due east rather than due northeast, which would make it avoid the northeast coast. But take a look at what the European model is forecasting when it comes to these next two snowstorms. The European model is forecasting a very similar forecast when it comes to the nor'easter I was just talking about and this potential southeast snowstorm. Now, there's still time to iron out the forecast, of course. This is very far out, but we do see the European model also agrees regarding the track and the exact areas where there should be snowfall in the southeast where northern Texas, Oklahoma, Arkansas, Tennessee gets involved with some snowfall. However, the European model is still a bit more lenient that it should be more of a rain event for a lot of these areas in the southeast, as the European model doesn't expect as much cold air to infiltrate the center of circulation. So we're definitely going to need to pay close attention to that, as we wouldn't get a good idea of how much cold air will be associated with this trough until, I'll say, the Thursday time frame of next week. So definitely we're definitely going to pay close attention to this for the southeast. In terms of the chance of snowfall in certain areas, let's say chance of snowfall for Oklahoma and Texas, at least northern Texas, I'll say the chance is right around a 60% chance, at least some snowfall occurring. I'm not necessarily outlining how much snowfall accumulation you'll see just yet, but right around the Saturday to Sunday time frame for Oklahoma, northern Texas, as well as portions of Arkansas, I'll say the chance of snow is at 60%. This should happen right anywhere between Saturday morning to the Saturday afternoon time frame for Arkansas, Oklahoma, and northern Texas. So definitely pay close attention to that. And then moving forward with the forecast, so the chance of snowfall for Alabama, Mississippi, and northern Georgia, at least the northern portion of the state, I'll say it's lower. I find it difficult that this upper level low will retain a lot of cold air for the snowfall to move that far southward into the northern states. I'll say it's like a 40% chance you're going to see snow, at least any sort of snowfall in these locations. However, this forecast is subject to change, so definitely stay tuned. But you should expect impacts right around Saturday night into Sunday morning for areas right around Georgia, Alabama, as well as Mississippi. And on the southern side of this storm, you should expect anywhere from 2 to 3 inches of rain for southern Alabama, southern Mississippi, and southern Georgia, and portions of Louisiana as well, right around New Orleans and Baton Rouge. You definitely need to be aware of that possibility. Now, in terms of the chance of snowfall for areas like North Carolina and Tennessee, I'll say in the higher elevations, the chance is certainly higher, right around the 60% chance I'm giving for snowfall in the higher elevations of the Carolinas and Tennessee. And it should bring snowfall to you guys right around the early morning of January 7th on Sunday. So definitely be aware of that. And in terms of the chance of snowfall for the bigger cities of Tennessee, let's say for Nashville and Memphis, the chance, it will certainly be lower since you're at a lower elevation, so temperature won't necessarily be as cold as, let's say, the higher elevations of Tennessee. I'll give the chance right around a 40% chance. Really all depends on how much cold air this trough has by the time it approaches Tennessee. So we're definitely going to keep tabs on that over the next few days. And then for the rest of the Carolinas and for Virginia, as well as potentially areas of the mid-Atlantic, the chance of snowfall is certainly lower because it seems like the computer models are leaning towards the ridging being a little bit strong for this to turn to the northeast. However, we're still very far out with the forecast, so I'll certainly keep you guys updated over the next few days. Now, when it comes to the chance of snowfall that you'll see for portions of the northeast for each state, I'm gonna go in detail with that because I know a lot of you guys are wondering what will be the specific impacts in your state associated with this potential major northeast snowstorm. So if we were to see impacts for the northeast, you would at first experience impacts right around the late portion of Thursday, January 4th, throughout the day on Friday, where we clearly see this low would be right at the northeast doorstep right around Thursday night, and this would be the time frame where the northeast coast would experience heavy snowfall if we were to see this northeast snowstorm come for fruition. Now, in terms of the chance you'll see snowfall in each area of the northeast, so let's first go in detail with Virginia, as well as Washington, D.C. and the Maryland area and Delmar Peninsula. So in these areas, I'll say the chance of snowfall from this storm system is right around the 50% chance. There's still a lot of time to iron out the forecast, and if we do see the timing mesh completely well for these two low pressure systems to where they could interact with each other, and the chance will certainly be higher for a major northeast snowstorm for the Delmar Peninsula, Washington D.C., and portions of eastern Maryland and Virginia. So in those areas, expect the chance of snowfall right around January 4th and January 5th to be a 50% chance. Now for the states further northward, such as New Jersey, Pennsylvania, upstate New York, and into the New York City metropolitan area as well. In those areas, I'll also give it at least a 50% chance right around New York City and New Jersey. The chance will be lower right around Pennsylvania and upstate New York. I'll say more like a 30 to 40% chance in these areas, thanks to the fact that I expect this low pressure system to not necessarily make a major shift where it'll enhance the possibility of snowfall for the interior northeast, because as it seems like the computer models are leaning towards being this low being more of a coastal northeast threat, since it seems unlikely that we're going to see strong enough ridging for the snow to completely shift towards the interior, exclusively towards the interior northeast. So I expect the chance to be higher right up along the Interstate 95 corridor for New York City and Philadelphia, and a little bit lower for the interior northeast. Now for New England, for Boston, for Hartford, and those areas, let me first start with the southern New England coast. It's around a 50% chance as well, but the chance will certainly be higher if we were to move northward into Maine, where Maine, I would expect that the chance of snowfall will certainly be a lot higher, where I'll say the chance of snowfall for Maine from the storm system is right around the 70% chance. So definitely stay on high alert right up along the coast of Maine, and for the rest of the northeast coast, definitely at least be aware of this over the next few days. That's it for now, guys, and I thank you guys for watching. Make sure to like if you do enjoy this video, and I hope you guys all have a great day.